Hello, everyone. Whenever you're working with large language models, you might not think that there's a considerable difference between a bad prompt versus a good prompt. I'm here to tell you that there is. It's actually quite significant, that difference. Now, here's an example of a good prompt chatbot. Imagine that this chatbot was created by Tesla, and the goal of this chatbot is to be very formal, stay on topic, and not to provide any discounts to customers. I tried to stress test this chatbot. I asked it to give me a discount, it didn't. I asked it to give me some information on any promotions, it didn't. I tried to go off topic, like ask questions on favorite activities or I'm extremely unhappy. It pretty much stayed on topic. Versus here's an example of a bad prompt chatbot. I asked it to give me a discount, and you can see that immediately things start standing out. For example, it's using emoticons. When I asked for its favorite activities, it started giving me favorite activities like creating new things and helping people. And when I asked to finance options, it gave me a bunch of different options. When I said that I'm extremely unhappy, it started acting like my therapist. So we don't want this. Now, the goal of this video is to show you what makes a good prompt and what makes a bad prompt. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start by looking at what makes a bad prompt. So we'll look at the bad prompt chatbot. The base model was the GPT-4 Turbo. Now, the only prompt that I provided was that you are an automated virtual assistant for Tesla. You respond to customer inquiries, and I gave it some information on hours of operation. Now, when we compare this to the good prompt, you'll see that it's all in the details. The more detail that you can provide to the system prompt, the better that model response as well as the expected response is going to look like. So here I gave a clear objective of what it needs to say. I gave it information on whether or not it's allowed to give any discounts or promotions or price offers. I also asked it to use formal language and avoid any colloquialism, slang, or overly friendly expressions. So I provided as much detail as possible so that I can get the expected response. Now, if you don't provide this elaborate prompt, then there are chances where your model can actually start going off rails. And we've seen that happen before, like this car dealership that started offering cars for $1 each. If there was a message in the system prompt that said something like, you're not permitted to discuss pricing or offer any discounts, then this never would have happened. If you go to the OpenAI website, and I'll share the link in the description, but it goes through all of these different strategies that you can implement for writing efficient prompts. Things like including details in your query to get relevant answers, providing examples, asking the model to adopt a persona. And there's a huge amount of information here that's available that you can take a look at to better improve your prompt writing skills. Now, that's one way of doing it. There is a much more efficient way in which you can write better prompts. Instead of me having to come up with a way in which I can improve a prompt, what I did was I first asked the GPT-4 Turbo model to give me an extensive and elaborate list of every possible way or strategy that I can use to write better prompts. Then it gave me a bunch of different ways. And after that, I said, using these strategies in mind, help me make a better prompt. My existing prompt is, write me a cover letter for this job. And then using that, it wrote me a better prompt. So what I could do now is I can simply copy this prompt, go to my workspace, go to prompts, and then I'll save this prompt basically. I'm going to call this my cover letter prompt. And there you go. Whenever I want to use this prompt, I'm just going to call it as cover letter, and it's going to give me the exact prompt that the ChatGPT model had essentially given me before with the best practices in mind. So you don't need to read a bunch of things or read a bunch of articles to tell you what the best prompting strategies are. You can let the large language models create the prompts for you. Now, there are ways in which you can reuse other people's prompts. So if you go to Open Web UI, click on the prompts section, you'll see that there are a bunch of different prompts that other people have written. Now, I find a lot of these pretty hit or miss. Like, for example, the code expert is just a very simple prompt. Now, an example of a good prompt that you can import from here is something like the Docker Compose. So I like this prompt. It's very detailed. It's very elaborate. It provides a good amount of information. If you want to get this prompt, all you would do is select get. import to OpenWeb UI. And here, when I hit save and create, it's automatically saved this prompt. So if I want to use this, I'm just going to call it Docker Compose. And there you go. And that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully it gave you an idea about what makes a good prompt versus a bad prompt. Basically, it's all in the details. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found it insightful, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. It really helps the channel out. And if you want me to do future videos on a topic that you're interested in, please leave a comment in the comment section below. That's it for this video. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.